I am with James Gummerson, watercolor and acrylics artist in Hamilton. James Gummerson has been painting for at least 15 years. He has also been an instructor of painting. He studied at Sheridan, the prestigious Sheridan College, and he's also a designer of art websites. Am I
That's
right?
right. That's right.
I'm in his work studio, and then we'll move to his gallery in the next room. James, would you like to take us through the work that you have here?
Sure, absolutely. As you can see, we've got. I'm in the middle of something with the kids here, but this is to start off with. This is a painting that I was working on. I spent a lot of the time doing this one outside. It's actually I spent a lot of time up north, up in Sable Beach.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I love the area.
Sudbury.
Yes,
that
yeah,
area.
and I love the lake. I love the water. I love quiet areas, and I love nature. It seems to be something that goes through most of my paintings. So that's what this painting's about. It's about that sort of cottage country kind of feel. The lake, the breeze, the water, and just that quiet cottage country emotion that you get when you go up there. So that's something that inspires me a lot.
That's what I got from your paintings when I saw them. That quiet feeling, that isolated but blissful place. It's something where you want to live forever.
That's exactly, yeah. You'll find that goes through most of my paintings. Is I find quiet areas. I like being by myself when I paint, especially when I paint outside. I don't like a lot of people around. I find it distracting. So yeah, you'll find there's not too many people in my paintings. Mainly for that reason. I just like those quiet times, and I love this. A lot of my paintings are actually about sound. Believe it or not, it's about the sound of the water. The
breeze.
wind blowing through the trees, and just when you're there in that moment, you close your eyes and you can hear that sound. That's what I kind of try to like to portray in my paintings.
I did see birds though.
You'll see a lot of nature, yeah,
And some animals,
and animals too.
like barn animals.
Yeah,
And can we move?
absolutely.
Oh, you have a tiny one, really nice here.
Yeah. Actually, I did that many moons ago, back in Victoria, BC. I spent a lot of time out in BC when I was a little bit younger, and the mountains and all of it out there are just so beautiful. And this is actually just looking out of the harbor in BC. I just did this in probably about half an hour, just outside. I just want to capture that feeling of the water and the big ominous clouds coming in. So a lot of my inspiration. I mean, I was inspired by many artists, but the Group of Seven is obviously, as a Canadian artist, if you can't be inspired by them, I don't know who you can't be inspired by. But yeah, that's somebody that's really inspired me, is the Group of Seven, Tom Thompson specifically. Although he wasn't really part of the Group of Seven in the beginning. But yeah, Robert Bateman, Andrew Waith are also some of my inspirations too. So those they kind of run through.
Robert Bateman from British Columbia.
And American artist Andrew Waith, I find. The watercolor, temperature artist, and watercolor is one of my favorite artists. So yeah.
We're moving to the other room, and I'm looking at a beautiful painting of you. I love this painting.
Yeah, it's funny. It's out of time. It's actually a time of turmoil for myself, really. It's a time when I was working for my family, and I wasn't painting a lot at the time, and I didn't really know where I was going. Really, this is years and years and years ago, and and just I wanted to paint myself, sort of give that reflection of how I felt at the time. I'm actually wearing a red apron of my father's grocery store that I was working at, and my father worked at the grocery store for years and years and years. That was his life, but it wasn't really mine, and I felt myself sort of going in that direction when I didn't want to be. So it just sort of reflects how I felt a little bit, and I'm looking maybe towards a window, maybe to the future, in or out, I'm not sure.
Are you happy now?
I
Where
am
you
now,
are?
very much so, yeah.
You look happy.
Yeah.
And your family is such a wonderful family.
I'm very blessed, yes.
Oh, up here. Oh, look at those. Where did you find them?
Again, this is something called Pumpkin Fest. It's way up near Sable Beach, and we've gone there years and years and years in a row. And every time I go, I see these gigantic pumpkins, and I love the forms. This actually painting is just about the forms and about being at the Pumpkin Fest. It's just that happy time. There's carousels, and there's a lot of noise going on. But just the forms and the light of those gigantic pumpkins and how they're almost shocking. You know what I mean? When you see the size of them compared to to everything else, and then you've got this this sunlight hitting on the side of it, and it's just these dark shadow forms. They're just different. I mean, a lot of people find this painting somewhat immature, but I really don't care. I really
Immature?
yeah, I've heard
Why?
people say that, but it's nostalgic, I guess. It's illustrative, I suppose. So, but I just for me, a painting's about what it is. So, what I enjoy painting.
Actually, to me, the style, the technique looks very mature.
Thank you.
And you are such a lover of a rural lover,
Yes, absolutely.
loving the life in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is it because you are that kind of laid back guy? You know?
Laid back, yeah, definitely. Most people refer to me that way.
Oh, it's actually a compliment. I don't know how
no,
they
absolutely.
say it.
No, I took it that way too. Yeah, definitely. Like again, it's quiet. It's laid back. It's contemplative and thoughtful. I think is my theme.
What a beautiful painting. Old wood, old house.
It's that's called Duke of Bordeaux. The Dutch communities back in BC is very prominent, and that is an old door from one of those homes where they had I think they had almost 20 families living in this gigantic home, and you can see every scratch and stuff on that door. I think that's what really got me is the history and just in a simple door. Almost 200 years of history is. I think I wanted to reflect that.
So this painting, what is it? Is it watercolor?
That one is watercolor. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks watercolor.
Now some of these, I'll be honest with you, are prints. Not many, but there's a couple of them are prints. This is actually a print of it. It's a giclée print because I find I have a group of people, collectors and stuff that come and they buy the paintings, and this one actually sold already. So.
Oh, no wonder it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Underneath.
Again, this is up north, Sable Beach again. It's actually just at the pier. I was driving around one day and I just looking for something to paint, and I was sitting in my car and I loved, like, it was a fall day. There was so many clouds, and all the clouds were really low, and there's so many shadows. It was a nice day, but then there was this this red sort of beacon on the end there, and I just thought, what a contrast, and I just like the feel of it.
And the blue is amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
It was a bit of an overcast, but you managed to give me that feeling of that day. And here,
again, just another day, just going out looking for something to paint, and I was actually near in the fall, and it was almost Halloween, and there was a huge field of pumpkins, and I just thought, like, what a pattern. Life, I find life, if you look in life hard enough, you'll see all kinds of patterns sort of, showing through, and I tend to look for those patterns and rhythms and things, and there's beautiful rhythm and patterns, and just in the pumpkins, and it's, again, when I do a painting outside, I'm not necessarily looking for the realism of it all. I'm looking more of a feeling, or, try to convey the message that I'm thinking about at the time, so. It's done quickly, and I like to create sort of energy with my brush strokes. I think that gives a sense of movement in the painting too.
so you like earth colors,
I do love earth colors, yeah.
and you also use sometimes this flashy, strong, bright color like this orange.
Yes, I do, yeah.
They go really well. They catch, the eye. They stay on your retina.
Yeah.
Oh, up there.
Funny story about that painting, but I was in the bathroom one morning at I think it was 5 in the morning. It was one of the coldest days of the year, and I looked out the window and I just saw these the smokestacks everything was quiet, super quiet. It's just of the edge of the mountain, and the Hamilton Mountain here, and just that the sun was coming up. All you can see is everybody's asleep. The whole city's asleep, and I like that feeling. That's why I wanted to create that quiet, everybody's asleep moment. It's just a great moment.
And you can feel it's freezing cold, and at the same time that quietness. We have time for one more painting, and then we move to your second video.
Okay. And again, that was done in BC years ago. It's just it was a painting sketch that I did on the right on the rocks on the water, and it was just a huge rock. A huge log. That was I guess when I did it, I wondered where it had come from, and it was that kind of wonder. I think that's what inspired me. Where did it come from? What island? What was it used for? Just a gigantic log washed up on shore. I just wanted to pay, homage to it.
I did see logs in your paintings. You love logs.
I do, yeah.
Oh, what makes you identify with them?
I think it's the forms. I think really. Well, there's two things. I think it's the age. That quite often, trees can be years, 100 years old, but it's the forms that they create. I think when they're together and they're stacked, or even when they're just in a forest. There's a lot that you can do with. They create a lot of rhythm too as well. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Your website is Jim Gummerson.
James Gummerson.
JamesGummerson.ca. And we are going to your second video. Thank you very much.
Right.
I am in James Gummerson's studio, and he graciously shared with us several paintings. Jim, thank you so much for being so generous and opening the door of your home.
Thank you for coming.
And showing me all this. So you have a few prints here and a few paintings.
Yeah, I like to spend a lot of time, like I said, outside. As I get older, I find I like to spend a lot of time outside painting. Getting that moment down is really what it's for. What I live for, I guess, when I'm painting. So, just doing it quickly and getting something down is interesting. I do like doing my studio pieces, and that's a piece that I've done in the studio. It took a couple of weeks to complete. Yeah, that one actually, I was nominated Top 5 Artist of the Year for Ducks Unlimited Canada.
Yeah, this is actually a print.
It is a print of it, yeah. The actual painting is downstairs in the living room.
Yes, I saw that one. And up here, you have a few watercolor paintings.
Yeah.
I get that wild feeling, but at the same time very peaceful. It's not the kind of wilderness where you would be afraid that there's a bear behind you. It's the kind of wilderness where you're at peace with yourself and the nature.
Yeah, that's right. It's extremely, that one there is an extremely windy day. Everything's just blowing around, leaves, grass. I want to kind of get that energy, that wildness, I guess.
And who is over there?
Well, again, I said I don't paint too many people, but every once in a while I'll come up with somebody that, I'll see somebody that I find extremely interesting, and this is a friend of mine. One of her relatives had a farm, and his name is Mr. Isatam, and he was 96 years old at the time there. He's no longer with us, but he was 96 years old, and he was just as agile as I'll ever be, I'll tell you, and he was running around this farm and farming, and but he was. I caught him one day, sort of sitting there, and just in the front room. Actually, what the painting's called, the front room, and he was just sitting there looking out the window, and I wondered what he was thinking about, over his 96 years of life. And I wanted to kind of get that from him, from his eyes, what is he thinking about? So.
And how is he now? He's still alive?
No, he's not around.
Again.
That was the print of the. That's a print of the.
Of the other one that we saw over there. Another watercolor here.
Yep.
Is this up north?
It is again, yeah. Just of the water, and again, just a very quick watercolor.
So your favorite season seems to be early fall, late summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Fall, definitely. Late summer, yeah, absolutely.
And I do see some winter, like those January nights.
Absolutely,
I've
yeah.
seen them in your paintings. I mean, I felt them and I love the feeling. Oh, look at this one.
Again, that was done up north again. Obviously, a lot of them are done up north, but it was just a beautiful, beautiful fall day. And, the color, I mean, it sort of speaks for itself. The colors are really what I was after. So.
And what do you do? Do you go at the spot? Do you sketch it, or do you take pictures and then you paint?
Well, specifically this one, I painted right there, and it took me about an hour to do. But other ones, I mean, like the one you see just below it, I will do sketches and some brief painting sketches, and then just to get colors, and then I'll take a lot of photographs and put it all together in the studio and paint it in the studio. I don't use one photograph and I don't use one sketch because photographs lie as far as colors go. So you need to really use your eye and your painting sketches to kind of bring it all together.
This one has lots of details. You're very good with the details.
Yeah, thank you.
And you like barnyards, animals on the farm.
Yeah, I do. I love because it's so quiet. Right? It's just another quiet place where you go there, you don't hear anything except for like maybe a chain or crashing against a piece of barn wood, or hear a cow in the background. I love that. Life is so hectic as it is, and I find that you go to these places and it brings you down to time.
And this winter painting, where did you do it?
This is outside, just outside of town here, actually. Yeah. Again, the reason I like that one is the tracks on the snow. Everything's just so hasn't been touched, and all of a sudden there's this shocking sort of track in the snow. It's,
I've seen this one on your website.
that's a print again. That one's sold. But I thought it'd be worth taking a look at. It's when I was traveling out to BC, as in Saskatchewan, and these grain mills are they're beautiful. Actually, these mills, and yeah, I just love the sky. It's so big.
And oh, look at this one.
Okay. Yeah, that's a print. It's of the actual painting. It's sold to a gentleman who owns a large company that does stuff off the lakes. But that I painted outside. I painted a lot of it outside in the snow. It was March. It's called March Ice Break. If you go up near the docks up near Sawville, the ice starts to break up, and it creates such great forms. So I was out. I spent a good almost 2 hours painting. My gloves were full of paint, and then realized I can't finish this here, so I had to take it back to the studio and spend a lot more time on it.
I also know this one. I've seen it on your
Yes, yeah.
website.
Yeah.
When I saw this painting, I wonder why did the painter, want to show the flag?
It was, it was a full flag the night before.
It was a storm.
It was a storm, and it tore this flag apart.
But see, it's still standing.
And it's still standing, and that's, I think, I guess there's a bit of a metaphor there, but
The resilience and the strength
of Canadians themselves. Yeah, I love anything Canadian, and I love the country we live in, and it's I like to try to bring that out a little bit in my paintings.
and the logs. I know them.
I did this actually just this summer up north, and again, this is about forms and light. I love the way that the sunlight splashes all over these lawns. It's just the forms and the light and the repetitive nature and the rhythms. Just got me.
This one also is new.
Again, up north this summer. They want to try and get that cottage country feel. The Muskoka chairs, the green lake, quiet lake.
You really want to be there. Jim, thank you so much. In a few minutes, we are going to your radio interview on blogtalkradio.com. And your website again is jamesgummerson.ca.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
More paintings from James Gummerson, and this is, it looks like oils. It's not an oil.
It's nice. It's actually acrylics.
Yeah.
Again, this was done many years ago. Probably, like I said before, probably through a tremalistic time. And it's a painting. It's a painting of a friend of mine.
You know, now you just got more fans. You're a good
exactly,
dad.
the daughters.
You're a good father.
Yeah.
And I wanted viewers to have to see this, the original of this painting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's again. This is a studio piece. Took many weeks to complete. Yeah, I love animals. Really, this painting was inspired by the water, the reflections in the water, and the shape of the composition.
Do you find that reflections take you a long time to complete?
I think so. Yeah. As I get, it's funny, you know, as an artist, as I get older, I start to realize. I think you start to see better, and it begins to become easier to do reflections. They're quicker to do now because I understand how they work and I understand what they are. So once you kind of get those together, it actually becomes easier and quicker.
And this one, look at this.
Yeah, it's it's a cute little cottage actually. And
Around here?
No, it's up north again. And it's there's always seagulls. As I drive by quite often, and I see this small little cottage, and it's actually interesting enough. There's an elderly lady that owns that, and I had this up once up at a show up in Sauble, and one of the people came up to me and said, I don't know who owns that cottage, and it was an elderly woman. So I actually had a couple of prints made of it, she clay prints, and she bought one. And she likes it, but yeah.
And I would like to share this one with the viewers.
Yeah.
A beautiful painting.
Yeah, it's a little bit quicker. It's not, this one again is not about so much the detail, but it's just the colors and really about the colors for me and how cold it's still. It's early spring. Things are starting to melt, and these vibrant oranges and yellows that just really got me. Yeah.
Oh, James, thank you so much. You've been so generous, considering that you're trying to juggle being a father and a painter and a husband. I think you're doing great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And she really wanted to get the message out to the world about the sort of trials and tribulations of her daughter and what she sort of went through when she was born, and and using a walker and stuff like that, and sort of connect with other young children that had hip dysplasia. So I thought, what a great idea, what a fun and touching subject to illustrate. So I went at it. We probably spent a good year illustrating this book, and it's still actually, and you can get it in chapters. You can order it through the Chapters website, and it's particularly sells well out in British Columbia. It's a local children's book. So yeah.
I think it's an amazing book, and it's interesting that at the time you were 24 and you were illustrating a book for a girl. Now you are wiser, older,
that's right.
and you have a girl, perfectly healthy girl.
Yeah.
And what's it like, when you're looking back at what you've done and you have this beautiful girl at home?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't need to, tell anybody out there that once you have a child, things change. And looking back at, the illustrations that I did for this book and thinking about my own kids, it means something different now because, when I was 24 doing this, I mean, I thought, it's touching and it's a great illustration. I did the illustrations and enjoyed doing it. But I don't think it really I connected with the actual theme and really what it means to be a parent, especially with a parent who has a child who has some type of disability or or medical issue, and I can't imagine what that would be. So yeah, it definitely resonates, and it's yeah, it's different. So noise when you're standing there, there's going to be that, you know, the trees are blowing in the background and the clang from the bucket on the side of the tin. And that's how I'm trying to convey that. It's all about the sounds that you hear there.
James, is there something that you wanted to paint and you never really got the chance to paint?
That is a good question. You know, actually, the first thing that comes to mind is I would, well, something that I've never had a chance to paint and that I would love to do is to go way into a wilderness like the Algonquin Park or something like that, and go deep into where there's, you know, not too many people. I haven't had a chance to do that. I mean, I go up north and I you know, I do a lot of painting, but I don't go deep into the woods. I mean, you know, and I'd love to be able to do that and just find a place again where there's nobody around. Maybe it's untouched, and just experience something that a lot of people have experienced. You know, so yeah.
James, you have two children, and it is very likely that one of them, at least, you know, inherited your talent. So, how would you feel if your son came to you and said, "Dad, I want to be a painter like you"?
You know, I would say, you know, I'd be happy, of course. And it's funny because those are his paintings there on the studio floor. And then when, you know, he was very insistent when I was talking to him last night that he put some work
Very
in there.
abstract.
Yeah, he wanted to put some work in. But so so far, I mean, he loves painting. And he actually's come with me sometimes, and we'll sit on the beach together and we'll paint. I would absolutely be happy, and I would totally encourage it. I think one of my philosophies in life is you need to do what you love to do, and you know, and it's not always about money, and it's, you know, for me anyway, it's not always about that. It's about being who you are, and if you're a painter by nature, and you need to paint, you need to do it, and you can't run away from
90 seconds.
You can't run away from who you are, I find. So.
We have 1 minute and a half. I would like to ask you, how do you see the future of painting? Watercolor, mixed media is very popular. Not a lot of people go into watercolor. You are one, as I said, you're probably the next greatest watercolor painter.
You know, I find, mixed media.
60 seconds.
Mixed media definitely is so big right now, and what's you know, what's not in is in almost. You know, this kind of feeling a bit sometimes. Watercolor, traditional watercolor painting and acrylic painting, I find isn't as popular as it is anymore, and I don't know what's going to happen to it. I mean, I hope that somebody continues to see its value and get quiet and not try to be so, you know, shocking, I guess, and shock the art world, but really get out there and paint and enjoy yourself and show the world what you have to express. I hope that continues on.
I would like to remind the listeners that your website is jamesgummerson.ca. Is there another way for them to find you?
Well, I mean, you certainly stop by the studio anytime in Hamilton here. We also have some work. I also have some work at the McNaught Gallery in Hamilton. So,
Jim, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, and bye-bye.
thank you.
Thank you, James.
No, thank you.